Hello and welcome to a quick video review. This is an update on CloudyFlex. This is CloudyFlex version 2.4. Please watch my previous CloudyFlex video to get a good idea of what the ROM actually is, because I just want to talk about the updates that this ROM brings and how it performs in day-to-day activity. Real quick though, if you want to use this ROM, here are reasons why, if you're debating, I should say, over Cloudy Stock or Cloudy Pro, or Optimus Pro or Optimus Flex for that matter. This offers a lightweight stock Optimus UI with a few extra goodies and a lot of black. Alright, has the ability to natively hide your navigation bar in applications just like you can on the G-Flex without having to use an exposed module. You can also remove the brightness and volume sliders from your notification shade. This is the G3 style notification shade. I'll talk about that later. You have built-in UHD video support, 120 frames per second video capture option. Art is you have the ability to enable art. Of course, I did not because I'm using exposed, and exposed is not compatible with art. But for me to use an LG-based ROM, an Optimus UI-based ROM, I have to have exposed for right now. Native split screen multitasking here. Very nice. Drag up, drag down, done. It's very convenient, and it works rather well on this 5.2-inch screen here. On this particular version is based off the D95520A, and it comes with the G3 keyboard natively built in. I'll show you the G3 keyboard here in a moment when we go through the settings. It comes with something called Smart Battery Charging, which even the developer, CloudyFA himself, says he's not sure what it does. It was a hidden feature that was set to disable from default, and he just enabled it, and so it shows up. I haven't actually noticed any difference, but it's there. On-screen phone is built in now, but you can also download it separately. And there are some other fixes to the UI as well as you updated the gaps. Also note that not code, it is built into this ROM. However, if your device does not officially support not code with a kernel that's been released by LG, then your not code is just another layer of security to enter your phone with the screen on. I say that because I have an LG G2 D800 and it has not been updated yet. The official release has not been made yet with native not code built in, so I don't have that ability. I did test the tethering. Tethering works fine. Had no problems at all with tethering. Let's go through the settings here. Got your quiet mode here, your volumes options, your profiles. Ringtones, smart ringtone increases the ringtone automatically in noisy environments. Vibration feedback, let's see. Voice notifications, notification sound, touch feedback and system. Display, got your brightness, screen timeout, screen off effect. You can retro TV it if you want to. There you go. Daydream. Font size, and I have my DPI set to 400, so I kept my font size to medium, whereas normally it'd be at small. Smart screen and smart video, I found those gimmicky. They do kind of work. Front touch buttons to note, once you use, like I'm using G2 Tweakbox, this adds the ability for me to do my 5-button navigation bar with a recents button instead of having to long press the home button. Very, very needed, and I've gotten so used to it that I was going crazy because the first version of 2.4 that released did not support it because the new base changed the way a few things were named and where the hooks are in the exposed module for the G2 Tweakbox. They wouldn't hook anymore. So he actually went in, CloudyFA went in and changed it so that it would actually work again. I can only imagine it took him some time to do it. I'm very appreciative though that he took the time to do that. There is your hide front touch button so that you can natively select applications to hide your front touch buttons. Continuing on here, your home screen, just like you would come to expect. There's nothing really new here. If you are using LG-based ROMs, I do recommend that you use this backup to make things quicker when you're going between other LG-based ROMs because it can restore your home screens. Very, very useful actually. Lock screen, here you go. You got the Flex theme here. Of course, you only get the Ocean option. I wish LG would get creative and make some more to go with it, but they haven't. Animated weather. If you're not using the Flex screen, you can use your custom wallpaper. You can use shortcuts, owner info. The lock timer and power button instantly locks. Gestures. We're just going to scroll through here. These are pretty much the same that you're used to seeing on the other LG ROMs. One-handed operation. You can swipe this direction or that direction to bring the keyboard over to one side. It does not do the G Pro version, which is the smaller window. It just moves the keyboard over. Storage, battery. Here's where you'll see smart charging. I have it enabled even though it doesn't really do anything. Or nothing that I've noticed anyways. I'm sure it does something. Apps, and here's your multitasking. Dual window. Okay, I know I called it split view before, but it's dual window. Split view will automatically open the apps that you've told it to in the split view. And if you do it the wrong way, it's annoying. And you do have slide aside too, which I don't use. The rest of these are all standard, and you can get the exposed modules by using the exposed injector, preferences injector. I will link it below. And I will go ahead and show you. There is your ability to change it to art. I won't do that because it won't work anyways. So let's talk about kernels. I did test this on the stock kernel, and I tested it on the Doramax kernel and on Furnace. Not in that order. I did stock, Furnace, then Doramax, and now I'm back on Furnace. Here's what you have to look forward to. Here's stock. Give it some time to settle. I was getting ready to do some reboots to configure this ROM a little bit, and so I went ahead and took a quick screenshot of 8 hours and 13 minutes off the charger. You can see pretty linear stuff there when it's overnight when it's asleep. 1 hour and 18 minutes of screen on time and 89% battery life left. That's about typical for what I expect on an LG based ROM for the first 10% draw. Actually, that's a little bit better. Here is the benchmark. This is the quadrant benchmark on stock. Here is another battery life drain test, 30 hours, 54 minutes. Pretty standard or regular usage here. And as you can see, it still had 3% left. And I'm showing you my usage on the graph there. And I had 4 hours and 1 minute of screen on time. Not my best. Not even close. And this is on stock kernel. It does take some time for this ROM to settle. I will say that. 16 hours and 20 minutes, and I'm showing you the usage again. And we have 3 hours and 6 minutes of screen on time with 33% left. So if we come back over here and we look at the end of this graph, and we can see here that in the last 3 hours, we roughly used about 15% battery life. So I'm guessing I could have easily got another hour and a half screen on time. So 4.5 hours, still not the best. And here are the wake clocks for that battery test. Important to note here, something I did notice, GPS worked fine on the stock kernel, but on any other kernel I was not able to get my satellites to lock. Another drain test. This is on the Furnace kernel, 19 hours and 19 minutes off the charger, 2 hours and 56 minutes screen on time. Still had 60% battery life, so very easily 6 to 6.5 hours of screen on time could have been expected during this test. Here is a benchmark with the Furnace kernel, 28,468 in Antutu, and here is the breakdown. I do want you to notice this resolution down here. It is important to note if you're using things like Themer that the resolution that this ROM thinks the screen is 1080 by 1842, and that's because of some work they have to do to get a Flex-based ROM to work on this phone. The G Flex has a 720p screen, whereas the G2 has a 1080p panel. Here we are, 20 hours, 3 minutes off the charger, 8% battery life left, 4 hours and 53 minutes of screen on time. And these are my wake clocks. This is just showing that I did have LTE working, even though it only says 4G. There is some other things to note there we'll talk about. It does not say LTE there, but it was getting LTE speeds. There's some talk about changing the build prop. You can change the ro.build_country, and you can change the ro.target_operator, and you can change it from open and com to your country and your carrier. When I did that, this signal indicator over here, well, let me see if I can find. There we go. Where it says 4G, that guy went ballistic. It changed so many different icons and just continued to cycle them through and never stopped. Alright. Continuing on, this is what I had the kernel settings for. And this is the kernel. Here we are on, this would be on the Dormax kernel, 22,362. That is probably the best I've gotten on the LG G2 and Quadrant. And then this is what the temperature was after I ran the test, and these were the settings. This is the Dormax, like I said, kernel. And here's our first battery drain test on Dormax, 20 hours, 56 minutes off the charger, 3 hours and 26 minutes of screen on time with 31% battery left. Easily can squeak another hour to an hour and a half out of there for anywhere from 4.5 to 5 hours solid battery life there, screen on time in the battery life test there. And that's being pretty conservative. 44 degrees Celsius there. Another battery drain test, 15 hours, 18 minutes, and we said 47% battery life left. 2 hours, 42 minutes of screen on time, so that's very easily a 5-hour day of screen on time. Another battery drain test, and it's all pretty typical of what we're usually getting. This is reverting back to the furnace. 19 hours, 55 minutes off the charger, 3 hours, 2 minutes of screen on time with 36% battery life left. You can see here, been trying to use it and drain it, so we can do the math. And this is a benchmark again on the furnace kernel, 27,356. So we're going to go ahead and start a quick power on test from the phone being powered off, see how long it takes before it's usable. And we are going to start it now. Okay, so we do have the timer going here. I don't know if it'll focus on that or not. There it goes. Alright. Let's talk about other things with the ROM. I really had no issues with it, no crashing, very stable. I can't say enough good things about these flex-based ROMs. They do feel very lightweight, and I am a fan of the blacks. It's responsive, it's fast, it's speedy, the good battery life is there. Just give it a couple days to set in. This is a great update. You don't notice a whole lot of changes. Okay, let's hit stop. And we're at 35 seconds here. And of course it's going to load, and it's going to take a second for it to load. But back to what we're talking about here, I'll go ahead and show you what the free RAM is here in just a moment. I did not test ARC because, again, I was using exposed. GPS, again, I'll go ahead and show you here in just a second once it's done loading. GPS, there you go, there's a gig right there of free RAM. Let's pull up the GPS application over here, and I'll go ahead and show you. Yes, I am endorsed, but it won't really matter. I tried using this yesterday and the day before to use as navigation, and even with the AGPS, it still was horrible. It would not lock on. It was useless. I pretty much just had to use the map and follow it myself, move it myself. But it does work fine on the stock kernel, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. A2DP worked great, no problems whatsoever. CloudyFA, just as another note, I'm just showing you here that the GPS does not seem to want to give a lock. Yes, we are endorsed, but even when I tried using this for navigation, it failed miserably on Furnace or Dormax kernel. On the stock kernel, it worked fine. And you can see here, I mean, usually even here I can get 2, 3, 4, 5, and eventually you'll get some more satellites, and I'm not even getting that. So I just want to show you this is what the GPS does, and then currently we are on the Furnace kernel. Real quick, take notice, I am using the G3 widget from Zuper, so it's a G3 clone, it's not the actual widget. I do find it aesthetically pleasing, it looks pretty nice here. Although one of the major advantages of using a Flex ROM is that natively built-in and working Flex widget, the real one, and it is there, and it does work. This is again at 400 dpi. You use Textdroider to get there. I used Expose. Let me show you the Expose modules that I used. Advanced power menu, app settings. This is so I can change the camera back to 480. G2 tweaks box. I went back and forth between both of these to figure out which one I wanted to use. Greenify, obviously. Play Store fixes and exposed preference injector, so I get the exposed preferences in my settings. A2DP worked perfectly. Had no problems with A2DP whatsoever. Worked just as you'd expected it to. The only issue I had was with Google Play Music, and it continued to fail to play the music. On my 4 Touch, no problems. Did text messaging, it streamed the audio, good quality. Had no issues with it stopping or pausing or anything like that. The only issue again was Google Play Music, and it did it both on Wi-Fi as well as the 4G. Kia Uvo, again, metadata work, no problem on the Kia Uvo. No text message support, even though the system supposedly supports that. I haven't found a single ROM yet that will do it. FM radio does not work on this LG G2 D800, so it's not going to work in this ROM. I had no problems with SMS or MMS. I didn't have to change any APNs to get those to work. They worked just fine from the very first install. This does utilize an aroma installer, by the way, so you can pick and choose what you want installed. In conclusion, this is an excellent ROM. The former is very friendly, and CloudyFA is a very talented developer. He does quite some amazing work with the G2, and he is working on a G3 port, so we can get that G3 ROM on our phones. Currently, the form for this ROM is 176 pages with 5,254 posts. That's not really that much. One word of warning: in the LG G2 community, you will see if you're trying to flash an AOSP or a CM-based ROM, there is a lot of concern right now over JDI or LGD panels. There is an application that lets you test your panel, tell you what you have. I can tell you that most likely, unless you've replaced the panel on your LG G2 D800 anyways, that it is most likely an LGD panel. Those replacement panels are most likely the JDI, as they are cheaper and easier to come by. If you found this video useful, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions or anything you want to know about this particular ROM, again, I'm trying to keep this short because this is just an update. Please watch my other review if you want to know about the camera, because I've already touched bases on the camera on my previous review, and nothing has really changed as far as the camera goes. Performance does seem a little bit more improved. It does seem like the shutter speed is quicker, but honestly, it was no slouch to begin with.